Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WCA 2015 European Pro Qualifier. We're ready for the Heroes of the Storm consolation match. It's Team Liquid, the Spanish Armada, versus Na'Vi. The winner will face Fnatic and have a guaranteed prize of €3,000. Both the teams are almost ready. Let's start the match.
Welcome everybody to the WCA EU Pro Qualifier, Na'Vi versus Team Liquid. Once again, the last time that the two teams met, Na'Vi was able to take it with a 2-0. For Team Liquid, it was a black day. They lost 2 best-of-3 series in a row for the first time offline in Heroes of the Storm. And they were not happy, not at all.
They were not happy indeed, and Na'Vi was one of the teams that took one of those series off them, but as we can see there, in the upper bracket finals, they were knocked down to the lower bracket by Team Fnatic, who are now only 1 best-of-3 away from going to China.
And we have Garden of Terror as the first map in the best-of-3 series, and the draft actually already started. Both of the teams eager to take the first map here. And as you can see in this case, we're having, of course, once again the first pick for Na'Vi and also the first ban. We've seen actually a lot of Jaina's being banned out so far, but of Garden of Terror in particular, a hero that you don't want to face is Zeratul. It's one of the best maps for Zeratul in this particular case.
Yeah, so Zeratul could be a very good ban here. Usually we see it as a second ban. First ban, possibly along the lines of a Jaina or something similar.
Yeah, we have also seen Lost Vikings banned out against Team Liquid quite a bit. It's a very strong hero for them on maps like Dragonshire, like Garden of Terror. The bigger the map, the better for Vortex to get the experience soak in there. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. Oftentimes we even see them play an Abathur and Lost Vikings combination just to try to always stay ahead in experience. And in this case, it is actually the Abathur that is being banned out by Na'Vi.
Yeah, and the Abathur is a more sensible ban, I would say, against Liquid at the moment. The Vikings have been very successful for them in the past, but Team Liquid have too many combinations that they can run the Abathur with. For example, just Abathur and any of their melee assassins to keep them protected is just too dangerous to leave up.
And for Team Liquid, there's now a chance to either ban Zeratul or just simply say, listen, we are going to let the Zeratul go through the draft. They oftentimes ban Jaina, and there it is, the Jaina ban incoming. So all of a sudden we have Illidan and Zeratul still available, and Na'Vi have to think about this quite hard, because do they leave Team Liquid Zeratul? Do they themselves maybe pick Illidan? Yesterday we've seen both of the teams dodging around the other 2 melee assassins a little bit, since Na'Vi could, for example, also start this off with a Leoric or with an Uther.
This is very true. This is a very large map, so Leoric could, in theory, just sit in the top lane, but it's more likely he'll be wandering around with his team. Na'Vi, though, picking up the Zeratul, just too good of an opportunity to miss.
Yesterday, both of the teams were trying to dance around the melee assassins. Today, Na'Vi locks them down immediately. Zeratul taken, one of the strongest melee assassins in the game now. And Team Liquid, they could, of course, respond in kind and take an Illidan here, together with an Uther. No matter what they do at this point, it's very likely that they're at least going to lock down that Uther to make sure that Zeratul is not going to get the additional help in those team fights with the Divine Shield, which will always be able to keep him alive.
Very likely indeed. Team Liquid taking their time up, just about to dip into their bonus time pool, but like you said, the Uther is already pretty much a sure thing. There is the Leoric coming in from Liquid.
Yeah, Leoric with very strong lane presence, and that actually shifts that draft a tiny bit. They don't necessarily have to go into an Illidan if they want him early on in the draft. You oftentimes see those melee assassins clash against each other. The question now is, will Team Liquid still use that Uther now, or are they okay leaving it up to Na'Vi to pick the healer first?
Team Liquid running it down. The Uther would be a nice pick, but they sometimes do go for the damage deal. Lost Vikings is still open, like you were talking about at the very start, so they could use that to maybe get some good XP soak, but against a Zeratul, there's a very good chance that the Vikings could just get picked off and they would lose that XP advantage they would get out of having them in the team.
That was actually one of the problems that Team Liquid had when they lost both their best-of-3 series, that the Vikings just didn't give them as much experience soak as they were hoping for, because they were picked off too much. Vortex had a huge problem keeping them alive. But right now, Team Liquid using a lot of time for the second pick, thinking about the options. Uther would be a very good pick for them, making sure that Zeratul would not have that support, but there are a lot of other heroes that would be really good for them. Even going into a second tank at this point in time could be an option for them if they want to just like push these lanes back. Johanna is of course a hero that comes to mind, but especially if you allow your opponent to go into an Uther, you oftentimes want to attempt to lock down an Anubarak. And Team Liquid make a very different choice.
Yeah, they go with the Zagara, who can fill a similar role to the Anubarak if, for example, you just more the healer or just more the melee assassin. so that Divine Shield cannot come down on the preferred target, and that can give you a chance to kill him off. It's also one of the biggest team fight turning heroics in the game right now.
It's also one of the heroes that Team Liquid has been favoring a lot in the past. They love to play Zagara and Nazeebo. They really like the composition, and especially Zagara has been oftentimes picked very early in the drafts, and this game is no exception. Na'Vi now with the potential to go into an Uther, but first of all they lock down the Johanna here. That's already going to help at the front line. It's a very good counter, or not necessarily a counter, but it's a good counterpart against Leoric, and also make sure that Team Liquid does not have an opportunity to use both of these heroes, both of these strong lane warriors, to push back the minion waves.
Yeah, one of the biggest issues with Leoric when you're going up against him is that he does just slow your tanks so they can't get into that backline to be disruptive. Johanna is one of the few heroes who can negate that with her Iron Skin trait. And Na'Vi still not picking the Uther, they go with the Kael'thas, getting that late game damage in.
They have the late game damage now, and that is already another hero that can use a Gravity Lapse to lock a target down here. So we could see now a ban on Team Liquid trying to target the Uther. There's actually like a really nice dynamic that we have in the draft. Team Liquid doesn't have to ban out the Uther, because they could also pick him up, and if they attempt to go into an Illidan, then that would be a smart choice. Of course, with the Zagara already added, they don't necessarily have to, but there's quite a few options of what kind of team composition Team Liquid could try and draft here. But as we said earlier, oftentimes when you have one of the teams going into the Zeratul, you see that Illidan, but Na'Vi could even ban him out and just tell Team Liquid, well, we are going to run the only melee assassin in this particular game.
Yeah, that is, unless Liquid feel like pulling in a Kerrigan or a Butcher. And they do have the potential for it. Tyrande, for example, is still open. Muradin's still open, so you can get any kind of massive stun train going. But we will have to see Liquid taking a very long time with this ban.
This is an extremely important map for both of the teams, because at this point it's going to be pretty critical to see which team will take the lead here, since after both teams are kind of on the edge. Na'Vi just lost to Fnatic. Team Liquid, yes, they won against Alternate Fancy, but they lost against Na'Vi and against Fnatic, both of the teams that are still in the tournament. So there's a pretty big chance that the team that loses the first map here is going to be on tilt. Team Liquid bans out the Anubarak, already indicating that they're either going to try and play with Malfurion or with Uther, since both of the healers depend on getting their heroic ability in the team fight out to help the team. So Anubarak is a direct counter with a Web Blast, and Team Liquid, they want to make sure that Na'Vi cannot pick him up.
Yeah, and Na'Vi here may just go, like you said earlier, for the Illidan ban, seeing as with that Anubarak ban from Liquid, they are kind of showing here, like you said, maybe we want an Uther, and if that is the case, they do get 2 picks after this ban phase. They could go straight for the Uther Illidan in this case. So Na'Vi may just go, well, we don't feel like playing against that, and that is 100% what they ban.
It makes the most sense, especially with the Anubarak already banned out. You can really tell that Team Liquid would like to take Illidan. They of course expected Na'Vi to maybe ban him out, and that's exactly what they did. Team Liquid in this case will not run a melee assassin unless they decide to go into a Kerrigan, which on this map we don't see all that often. But they still have the opportunity to go into Lost Vikings. If they are saying, alright, we want to have that experienced lead again, they can try to play the Vikings. They have also now the second tank already locked down. We expected either Uther or Malfurion, and since there is no Illidan possible for them, it makes a lot more sense to go into Malfurion for tranquility, and also he of course is going to benefit from that ban on Anubarak.
Yeah, Malfurion also the best healer here to counter against the Kael'thas. Just get that massive amount of heal for his team in the late game, as opposed to Uther, who is much more single target focused, which means basically you have to hope only one person at a time gets caught by those flame strikes.
Team Liquid currently with the double warrior set up already. They have their healer locked down. Na'Vi so far doesn't have that, and they could still use that Uther. They could also go into the Rhaegar here, depending a bit on what exactly they want to do, but from the looks of it, especially with Team Liquid of course heading into also that Stormbolt on Muradin, they could definitely throw out the Divine Shield, and there it is. We have Uther already played, and at this point they can really think what they want to do. Do they want to add a second warrior to their lineup? Do they want to add a bit of utility? So they have quite a bit of options what they could choose as their last pick in this game now.
Yeah, but looking at Team Liquid's lineup, we can see that they do need an extra damage dealer of their own. They can still go for someone maybe melee, but it's going to be so much riskier with Malfurion being the only one protecting them. They're probably going to want to go for more range damage, where they have been known to prioritize Nazeebo heavily, so maybe Na'Vi just wants to try and steal that away and run with Johanna as their solo warrior. Yeah,
if they want to run a solo warrior here, then they could add some additional damage. Well, Nazeebo is a good option if they choose to go into a very aggressive composition. They could also use a Vala here, which would work for them. There's of course other options that you have. Even a Tacita is a possibility, trying to help out with the additional vision on those two Garden Terrors, trying to get those seeds. Also, of course, a bit of extra sustain for Johanna with a shield that he can throw out. So there's a couple of options that they have right now. It just all depends on how aggressive they really want to be in this first map of the series.
Na'Vi just running down their time pool right now. It is their very last pick, so they can just use up all of their bonus time if they want to, just to make 100% sure they are happy with what they pick.
If we are going to see a double warrior, their options are at this point rather limited. We already have a double warrior picked for Team Liquid. They themselves locked down the Johanna, so they could go into an Arthas or a Tyrael here. Both heroes that really work or can work quite well for them, especially when we're going to see something like an Arthas, though they don't really have a lot of initiation potential. But they decide to go for the aggressive composition that we've been mentioning. They know that Team Liquid loves to play Nazebo, so they decide against the Vala, and they go into Nazebo here together with Kel'Thas, one of the best damage dealers in long matches here. And Garden of Terror is known to be one of the maps where matches are a bit longer than, for example, on Tomb of Spider Queen.
Yeah, it also gives them a very effective counter lane pusher to deal with that Zagara lane, which Liquid will be running, where they will be attempting to push in as much as possible in the early game to get that little XP lead for when the night happens.
Vala is an option for Team Liquid. They need some damage. It's kind of unlikely that they go for the Vikings here. Vikings with experience, Soga great, and the longbow can also dish out some damage. But in order to make this work with a composition like this, you need to ensure that you're always ahead in experience. And the question, of course, is can Team Liquid really do that? It's sometimes a comp that they occasionally play with only one damage dealer, but it would be much safer against such a high damage composition that Na'Vi runs to go into another damage hero themselves. That leaves the Falstad, leaves the Vala, and we are seeing still the Vikings. They're doing it. They're actually going for the Vikings here with only one damage dealer. They're still saying we can pull this off. And of course, as you can see, they are really lacking a lot of damage numbers. In the fights themselves, the longbow, it really helps, especially if you hit level 20 and can use the Ragnarok and roll. But before that, you need to play around your opponent. You can't engage into team fights. You try to soak as much experience as you can. Always be ahead win a level, be ahead with a talent, and then you can take fights. But that shows a lot of confidence, especially into Vortex's ability to soak these lanes. And it is a bit of a gamble that they take here.
It's a very big gamble, especially considering the hero lineup he's up against in those fights. Those spiders, once the Leaping Spider talent has been taken by Nazebo, are going to chase down the Vikings, and they get killed pretty quickly by them. There's also the chance that at any point, one or all three of them could be caught in a flame strike, and of course, Zeratul is going to be looking for free kills wherever he can, and Vikings are very squishy.
Muradin is going to be one of those heroes that might be able to disrupt the backline of Na'Vi in this case. We've actually seen it played by Fnatic. Fnatic was using a Muradin Johanna composition and used the Muradin more as a, I want to say like a melee assassin. He jumped into the backline and started to chase down the damage dealers, and that is something that they can try and do here as well. But then they can only rely on Leoric to keep the backline alive, and he of course has that skeleton swing that slows down targets. But still, for Team Liquid, that's a pretty ballsy comp. They need to make sure that Vortex gets the experience lead. They need to make sure that they control the objectives, and we're going to find out on the first map if they are able to do that, or if Na'Vi will take game number 1 here. So let's jump right into the first game. Garden of Terror is, as mentioned before, the first map. The second map, by the way, is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen in the series. And starting off to the left side of the map in this best of 3 series, the first one today here, it is Team Liquid. Vortex on the Lost Vikings, we have Falcon on Zagara, Lucifron on Leoric, Grand Paquetto on Malfurion, and Blackscorp and Muradin. To the right side of the map, we have their opponent. They played a great tournament thus far, but they lost against Fnatic. Now it's their chance to meet them again in the next round. It is Team Na'Vi! Eternal on Zeratul, Splendor playing Uther, we have JPL on Kel'Thas, Shwimpy on Nazebo, and Alex the Pro-G is playing Johanna, as we already see a tri-lane in the middle. JPL, Alex, and Eternal are attempting to take down one of the Vikings.
Vortex slowly creeping forward with Olaf, waiting for someone to reveal themselves, and the team of Na'Vi do show, and now that they know it's just Vikings in the mid lane, we're actually going to see him split up a bit.
Muradin is currently waiting of where exactly he's going to go, and Blackscorp is playing the hero, so he has some potential to be aggressive. We've seen him a lot more on the second tank in the past few days. He's been playing that role a lot, and it's a bit of a switch for them, of course. But still, Muradin can be very aggressive, and that is what he's going to try and do here. Of course, as the talents, we have Season Marksman on level 1 taken for Zeratul, who's trying to go into the auto attack build. And the mid lane is pushed heavily as JPL, Eternal, and Alex are still attempting to take down the Vikings.
Nazebo sitting in the top lane against Leoric. Leoric, one of the best lane pushers in the game, and Shrimpy on this Nazebo will be able to counter push him quite a bit, as he does do a lot of damage to these minions, and of course will be stacking off them.
Down to the bot lane, we had a small rotation here from Na'Vi. They were trying to take one of the heroes down. Blackscorp is still aiming for the seeds, and this is of course where they have to excel. They need to split the Vikings now. They need to make sure that they get the objectives, but Na'Vi is already present. They are pushing them back. Very aggressive stance by Na'Vi, and that's exactly what they need to do right now. They need to be aggressive on the map, they need to take map control, and they need to make sure that the opponent with the Lost Vikings is not going to get too far ahead in experience.
Yeah, they're saying to Liquid, if you want to go and try and out-soak us here, we're going to be aggressive and outnumber you. Splendor, though, taking a lot of damage, is able to back up, though. Zeratul getting caught in the route, but it's not in any danger. Shrimpy and Lucifer just both mounting up directly next to each other there and running into each other again.
Yeah, they're still like dancing around each other, as they have been on the top lane for a long time now. Vortex with the experience, but so far Na'Vi is keeping up. For both of these teams, this is incredibly important. Before coming to the tournament, Team Liquid hasn't lost a single best-of-3 series in all the offline tournaments that they attended in Heroes of the Storm. Now they lost 2 in a row, they fell down to the loser bracket, and all of a sudden they were in trouble. They are starting to come back though with the victory yesterday against Alternate Fantasy. They find themselves now into the consolation final here, but Na'Vi, they want to make sure that they get their revenge match against Fnatic, and we have the fight going on straight at the Terra up at the top.
Johanna throws down the blind onto the 2 tanks. The stun does not land on the Falcon, was very close, but Falcon is separated here and trapped on this boss. Actually taking a flame strike. JPL very well positioned here.
Yeah, in terms of seeds, we have 63 for Na'Vi, and they're trying to get even more. Moving in, Olaf killed though. One of the Vikings is dead, but we are seeing nearly a counter kill against Lucifer, and there comes Eternal. So they take down Leoric, they're able to get the kill. It's nearly an even split on seeds, a small advantage for Na'Vi when it comes to the seed count.
Yeah, Liquid were able to raid that Shambler point and take most of the seeds from it, but now they have an entire bot one to try and contest Na'Vi for, and with those kills, Na'Vi has evened up the XP.
Yeah, the experience actually looking pretty good for them. We have Team Liquid in a position where they're not really ahead, even though they were running the Vikings and splitting them on the lanes. We're seeing Eric the Swift taken on level 4. For the Vikings, so that we have a bit of a speed boost for Eric, and he can also heal himself here with a fealty onto death for Leoric, so the extra lane sustain for him. That will allow him to push the lanes even harder.
Yeah, and Liquid were just able to focus down that Terra. Balog going down to Na'Vi here, but Liquid with the focus, because Na'Vi went back for health and mana, were able to take enough Cs to get themselves the first plant Terra of the game, and that will be taken by a single one of the Lost Vikings.
Blackscorp is in this case going for a Reverberation build. And of course, trying to aim against Zeratul in this case here, trying to lock him down as much as he can in those fights, and they are starting to take camps. We have already the Garden Terror coming into the mid lane, and that's one of the advantages that Team Liquid definitely has now. Level 7 talent hits for both of the teams at the same time here, and we're already seeing the renewal for Leoric so that he can stay in lane even longer.
Shrimpy is going, hasn't actually picked his talent yet, but it's likely going to be the Gibbon for the duration on Spiders, so can get some extra damage out of them. Falcon pushing the bot lane, but with Alex the Prodigy and Eternal coming in, maybe able to get something, but we do see the Johanna route there. Eternal drops a bit of damage on the Grand Paqueta, but not enough to catch any of them out.
Team Liquid with a very smart rotation. Using the plant at the top lane forces a reaction out of Na'Vi, of course. They only have Shrimpy here though, since the bottom lane was pushed hard, so they put those two, put the plant and the tri-push as far away from each other as they possibly can, pushing the top and the bottom lane, and therefore it's nearly impossible for Team Liquid or for Team Na'Vi to react appropriately. But still, in the mid lane, 2 of the Vikings already taken down, so JPL is doing a very good job and making sure that Vortex cannot really focus on both. Of course, he's the one who took the Garden Terror. He's currently busy up at the top, but he also has to micro those 2 Vikings in the mid lane, and it's not easy against Kalpas.
Yeah, and because he hasn't been able to micro them, Kael'thas has a 5-minute 5-stack Kael'thas.
That is pretty solid. Of course, with every single hero that you kill, you get one of those stacks for the Gathering Power, and the Vikings, they count as a full stack. So he is doing a very good job farming them, and that means that Kael'thas is going to do a lot of damage with those Flame Strikes and the Ignite then later on, but at this point already with the Living Bombs that he can dish out.
Yeah, Living Bomb currently his main form of harass until he hits level 16. The Flame Strike mostly being used to clear waves and as a good bit of AoE damage in the team fights. Eternal heading up to the top lane to soak it a bit and just to push it back. A Viking will join him up there.
At this point, though, we have exactly what Team Liquid was trying to do. At the beginning of the game, they didn't really get as far as they had that they would have liked, but they took down now the fort at the top lane. They're pushing the bot lane as well. They have their level 10s. They use that, and that is one of the strengths that Team Liquid had for the longest time. That every single time they had a slight lead, they always moved in and made sure that they were exploiting it as much as they could. And now with the heroic abilities, they know that there's no way for Na'Vi to fight, so they just say, let's push another fort, take that down, and make sure that we get even further ahead, because they have that leading experience that they're waiting for. They know that it's going to be tricky for them to fight in the team fights later on, but as long as they stay ahead in levels and maybe get an additional talent, they can take these fights regardless.
Liquid attempting to be sneaky, taking that easy camp, and Na'Vi raiding back in and using the start that Liquid gave them to grab that as quick as they possibly can. Liquid moving all to the mid lane. Looks like they're going to attempt to go for the top Shambler.
Yeah, they are moving up to the top once again. Of course, their rogue abilities are now in play with Gary the Gargantuan, Blessed Shield, Divine Shield, the Void Prison, and the Phoenix. Has a lot of potential to initiate a fight on the side of Na'Vi, but it's a split. At the bot lane, we're seeing Na'Vi and Team Liquid, the Spaniards, they're up at the top. They still have a slight lead in experience, and they're trying to run with it. They're going straight for the Shambler here, and we have both of the teams potentially with a Garden Terror during the next night.
All of the Vikings helping with this for Liquid. They want to grab it as quick as possible. I think they wanted to head down to the bot lane to maybe contest, but Na'Vi also able to pick theirs up just a little bit slower. But also with all the Vikings helping with this, it means that Na'Vi couldn't have taken theirs quicker and come up to help.
Yeah, and currently when it comes to the seed count, we have both of the teams, of course, with the plan, but at the same time, it also means that during the next night, it's going to be a bit easier for Na'Vi to get another one. At the top lane, Vortex Eric is in trouble and is going to be farmed. Eternal takes him down, Zeratul with a quick kill, and now the Garden Terrors are moving into the middle of the lane.
Yeah, the Garden Terror will begin pushing it down that mid lane, whereas the one from Na'Vi is heading up to the top lane as that fort is left fairly undefended.
It's really nice move that we're seeing on the side of Team Liquid though, taking that Bruiser camp as the Garden Terror of the opponent heads up to the top, means that they're having a bot lane being pushed in right now. Great move by them, but up at the top lane it's only Zagara currently trying to deal with JPL on the plant. Falcon has to be careful here that he doesn't walk into the polymorph seed. He's doing a really good job at defending. In the mid lane it's the entirety of Na'Vi with every single hero that they have, except of course for the banner, and in this case also Zeratul is trying to sneak around, trying to defend the fort.
Zeratul going for Zagara here, wants to try and catch her out, and JPL already dropping her quite low. Eternal coming in and blinks out of the board, dodging away. Very well played.
Really well done and a good kill, but the level 13 is still faster for Team Liquid. They have the jump now, the Mutalisk. There's a Burning Rage on Leoric, and we're seeing the Thunder Strike together with a Life Seed. Full heal Malfurion, by the way, in this case. Not afraid of Zeratul at all. He's just saying like, yeah, well, I don't really care about Zeratul. I still go for my Enduring Growth. I don't need an Ice Block. I go for the Life Seed. So it's a full heal Grand Paquette that we're seeing in this game, and he's going to get crazy numbers out, especially against Kael'thas.
Yeah, he's just trying to be that protection against Kael'thas. JPL, the Kael'thas here, actually very far forward, forced out a Divine Shield from his Ufa. Nice Void Prism, though, will allow JPL to get out. Flame Strike, a little bit early that time. The zombie ball, though, nicely placed.
Yeah, Blackscope actually jumping right into it. The bot lane was by now defended. We had Alex the Pro G taking care of the Bruiser camp. We have them rotating again. Team Liquid still with that tiny lead in experience here. But the kill count, Team Liquid, they might be ahead in experience, but as we mentioned before, they do not take any team fights yet. They know that it's going to be a problem for them if they don't establish a lead before that happens. And they don't have a single kill in the game. 0 kills for Team Liquid.
To 3.5 of Na'Vi. Most of those are Vikings, but a kill is a kill and XP is XP.
And at the bot lane, again, an attempt to go for another camp, but there's currently Leoric, and Na'Vi doesn't really know how many players of Team Liquid are around, so they're a bit hesitant to commit to the camp. And here comes Vortex with Grand Paquette. Falcon is trying to join the fight as well, and Team Liquid, they steal it away. Up at the top lane, Eternal going for the split experience. It's a very slow-paced game that we have between the two teams, and it's very understandable, them being in the loser bracket here. Everything is on the line, and you do not want to lose map number 1.
Yeah, they're both teams playing so careful here. Liquid have been taking a couple risks, though, this game with a lot of those camp raids that they have been doing, and as a whole, they have worked out for them. They've managed to get out of them, even if Na'Vi came to contest as well.
Yeah, map control is something that they can really establish since they are all over the place. with the Vikings. The problem for them still being that they're not really too far ahead in experience. It's a tiny window that they have where they will hit level 16 probably earlier as well, but it's not really all that big. And the attack over here against the Vikings already happening. Alex is moving in, followed by a Mutalis. Team Liquid, are they going to fight? We see at the bot lane, Lucifon currently trying to take a few seats, but he's now moving up to the top to join up with the rest of his team.
Eternal looking for an angle here, looking for someone to try and pick off, is instead moving down to the bot. I think he thinks that there's someone there, didn't see that everyone has just run past. Or is he just going to try and solo this? He's just going to solo this.
Yeah, he's going to try and get a few additional seats for his team up at the top lane. It's already Team Liquid with a quick focus on the Garden Terror. They're going to get their level 16 and they're also going to hit another plant, but so is Na'Vi.
Yeah, everyone from Na'Vi coming down to join Zeratul here, not letting him do this alone. They are able to pick up their plan as well. And once again, do come out a couple seeds ahead. But so far, that hasn't really made a difference as both teams have matched Terror for Terror.
Team Liquid, they want to fight now. As mentioned before, with a talent advantage, they can still go for it. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. Imposing presence on Leoric, Stone Form on Muradin. But they have to move back. They weren't able to catch anybody here. They were trying to go for Na'Vi right away. Na'Vi expected it, moved back, and they are trying to soak that tiny bit of experience that's still missing to give them level 16 and therefore the additional talent.
Yeah, nice disengage from Na'Vi there, with Infernal being the only one behind and able to blink away from any follow-up abilities. They get their level 16s, so are now prepared to fight against Team Liquid.
And that is getting really scary for Team Liquid now. We have the Leaping Spiders, we have Ignite, two great talents, and also an imposing presence on Johanna, coupled with that Benediction for Uther for the added heals. And of course, it's the double bombs here for Zeratul. So very strong level 16 talent for Na'Vi, and it's going to be difficult for Team Liquid contest that, especially now with all the AoE damage. Malfurion, it's really his time to shine now because he has a lot to do in the next few minutes.
Yeah, he is going to have to get work done. That Phoenix doing a very good job here of zoning Vortex of it. And then takes some damage. Swimpy rolling forward, trying to get Small Queen's Curse down on someone, but everyone from Liquid able to dodge.
Yeah, currently in the defensive position, that's where we're seeing Na'Vi. They're trying to make sure that nothing is taken out, especially, of course, that keep is something that they want to protect. Both of the Garden Terrors just dancing around each other. Vortex already eating a lot of damage here. And it's always JPL in the backline with another Flame Strike. Flame Strike after Flame Strike, trying to apply that living bomb. And a lot of damage here. Doesn't hit too much with the recent ones, though.
Yeah, he's been clearing creep very efficiently, but hasn't actually done much damage to anyone other than Vortex. Does land on Vortex there, and Eternal blinking in, dealing a bit of damage, and Ice Pro G absorbing the follow-up Stormbolt as they tried to grab Zeratul on the way out.
Oh, that was a really good one, and the jump being used to negate the damage by the living bomb. Vortex with very good control on the Vikings here now. We're having them moving forward now, trying to take down one of the Team Liquid players, and they go straight for Leoric, who uses the March of the Black King, turns this around, tries to go for Splendor, but the Void Prism for the disengage.
Beautiful Void Prism, Flame Strike and Phoenix already on the way of Vikings in the longbow. Falcon has taken a lot of damage in the back, and we see the Brute onto the Uther and onto the Kael'thas, and Uther is in the Devouring Maw. Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. Uther gets taken down.
Wow, he had the Divine Shield still up, but he was stunned out. Really well timed by Blackscorp. They get their first kill in the game, take down Uther. He's still trying to help, and now Team Liquid disengaging immediately. That was a very good fight for them here. And for Uther, very unfortunate that he was not able to use the Divine Shield before that Stormbolt hit.
Eternal still looking for a kill, but he's probably not going to find one unless he goes for a Viking, blinking over the wall there just to check, but finds nothing. In the meantime, Shrimpy is just taking this easy camp, and Johanna will move up to the top one.
Yeah, Johanna's going to try and take another one here, and already Eternal is scouting out where exactly Team Liquid is, or at least making sure that they're not approaching to steal it away. So they are still in a decent position here. They have levels 18 versus, well, level 17, but soon about to hit the next level here. 4.5 kills against 1. Kael'thas didn't die yet, so he still has all of his damage, so that's going to be very good for them, making sure that with all the stacks that he has in Gathering Power, he can go into these team fights with full damage. Team Liquid going for the seats now, but so does, of course, Na'Vi, and they are moving in against the Vikings once more.
Not a well-timed jump that time. Down goes Eric, and Olaf is still alive, though Balog is alive, helped in the bot lane, so we can still get a 2 Viking health longboat once it is off cooldown in 3 seconds.
Ash was trying to apply some damage with the Leaping Spiders there. We are seeing at the top lane, Na'Vi going straight for their own Garden Terror. Already a plant growing for Team Liquid. They're starting to de-push the lanes. That was really well done by Na'Vi, making sure that they had Siege Giants on every lane, or at least on the bot lane and the mid lane, putting some pressure. And it's still the experience that we have there. They are on eye level, and that's a very good situation after all for Na'Vi.
Yeah, as long as they can keep this up, they're managing to keep up an XP with a Lost Vikings team, and that is huge for them. So now all they have to do is to actually land this huge amount of damage potential that they have.
Exactly, JPL needs to make sure that he gets that in. The Void Prison setup that we saw in the last fight was actually very good. Was used as a disengage for a few of the heroes that were in trouble, and at the same time it also provided a setup for Kel'Thas to use his Phoenix, use his Flame Strike, and that's exactly what they need. Both of the teams now in level 19, with the wave pushing in up at the top, Plant already dropping a pot to make sure that that wave is going to be taken out. But in the mid lane it seems like it's Na'Vi's time to push and Team Liquid's to defend.
Na'Vi just posturing due to the fact the plant was in the top lane, but are now going to move back, kite back to their buildings, as they don't want to risk getting into a ban engagement by being moored outside of their base.
And they have, of course, tried to somewhere engage later on with the Zeratul. For now, it doesn't matter since he's the one who took the plant. The melee assassin jumped straight for it. Lucifron also eating a lot of damage here already. Hastilis Renewal can be healed, but that Ignite hurts. And there's Malfurion. Thanks to the Enduring Growth, he does a lot of heal now.
The Spiders also persistently dealing damage from Shwimpy here. That keep is dropping low and will go down quite soon. Zagara just throwing abilities from out of range.
Yeah, and all of the damage that Kel'Thas dishes out is being healed by Malfurion. Does a great job, and that keep is about to fall. We have Team Liquid taking down the first structure here. Still a lot of damage. Lucifron is taking another hit with a living bomb, but Malfurion is just everywhere right now.
Vortex making his way down to the bot lane with the rest of Liquid here. They want to try and get some more push. Eternal already down here to meet Vortex and at least drop some damage there. The rest of Na'Vi were looking for maybe a gank from the top bush, but decided to instead join behind their Terra so that they can remain grouped and work as a team.
Team Liquid has a level 20 advantage now with the Ragnarok and Roll, a double bolt of the Storm, and the Hardened Shield, so that's something that they can use in an engagement if they're going to take it. They have taken down the first keep, and at some point Na'Vi will have to just go for it. They need to just pick their moment and try to engage. They have a lot of damage. They need to pick a target and try to take it out.
Well, the Terras are both expired. Level 20, about a single minion away for Na'Vi. They just need to find one to stand next to. There it is. Level 20 available for them. Double bolt the Storm on the two damage dealers. We have the Rewind on Zeratul. Uther yet to pick, which is fairly standard. Johanna deciding between Indestructible and Storm Shield.
Storm Shield would be quite nice for them, but I think that Indestructible would allow her to go a bit deeper, and currently they really need that engage. She is the solo tank for the team, so it's definitely an option to go into the Indestructible talent instead and then try to go deep for a good condemn and trying to lock somebody down or at least pull them into another Flame Strike and Phoenix. And that's what they need now. They have a huge amount of AoE damage and they need to go for a target. Allow maybe a setup for Zeratul, dropping someone a bit low so that Zeratul can jump in and take him out. They need to make that happen. Talking about Zeratul in general, his seasoned marksman stacks are currently at 37, so he's getting a fair amount of damage in, but the longer the game goes, the more damage he's of course going to accumulate with his first level talent.
Yeah, and Johanna does go with the Storm Shield, just relying on keeping those damage dealers alive, as they are going to be what wins them the game, if anything. Seeds do spawn and Liquid just annihilate that camp in less than a second.
And Na'Vi, they want to fight this time. They move to the bot lane. They're going in. Shield Glare already used. Eternal is waiting for an opportunity to go for the Vikings here. Already dishing that out. Needs to blink away, but Black Scorp is waiting. And the Void Prison in the last second, but he wormholes back into trouble and goes down.
Here comes the march of the Black King from the Leroy, doing as much damage as he can. Divine Shield from Ufa used on Ufa. He does mount up and will be able to back out. Alex the Pro G taking a bit of damage. Flame Strike is huge on the backline. The jump from the Vikings negates the damage. The zombie wall, though, will halt the pursuit for a little bit. Leoric is not done yet.
Really great job there by Black Scorp. He saw Zeratul, and himself being, of course, a main Zeratul player, he knew immediately what the next move would be. He moves around the corner, just waits for Zeratul to appear, and all of a sudden Eternal is like, oh my god, I'm in trouble. Drops the Void Prison, tries to go for Wormhole, but that didn't help him either. Very well played here. That Storm Ball was about to drop him either way. Black Scorp with a great position and putting him into a checkmate spot, and now taking that so important kill, and they can get all of the seats on the map now if they play it right.
JPL still dropping damage with his Flame Strike, but it's all being healed up from Malfurion and the just passive heal abilities on everyone from Liquid. Trying to get as much as he can. Seeds all going over the Liquid. they have a Terra available now. Na'Vi just desperately trying to get something out of this.
We have Zeratul back to business, but he has to cross the map first. Lucifon with a Wraith Walk, already moving back to safety. Grand Paquette healing himself, and 20 minutes into the game, it starts to look quite good for Team Liquid, but they're about to lose a fort at the bot lane. They need to defend this, and also they need to make sure that they're contesting the Terra seats over here.
Well, they do now have their own Terra, so they can put some pressure on with that. We see Na'Vi scouting out that Terra, seeing if anyone's taking it with the Flame Strike. They realize it's not, so they're moving into the mid lane, getting ready to defend against Team Liquid, who may use this Terra to go for maybe a core push.
We currently have, in terms of damage, 79,000 hero damage on Kalthas. And in the mid lane, as you already mentioned, this is where Team Liquid is going to make their next stand. They are trying to go maybe for core here even. There's no keep in the mid lane any longer, but it's going to be difficult to core against 5 heroes. And if they really try to go for core, then Na'Vi should try and defend at the core so that it helps them out, and that's what they're currently trying to do. Alex is already there. Team Liquid, they are really going for it. They want to take it, but Vortex is nearly dead on the Terra. The core is dropping though, 50% at this point. Everybody going for the right click. The Terra is already gone, at the same time the Void Prison comes down to buy them a little bit more time, and they're trying to use JPL to kill everybody. 2 heroes dead for Team Liquid. Can they make it?
Both the tanks are still at full health, though the Vikings pop out of it. The bot to the Black King from Leoric, and GG! Liquid take game number 1.
What a call! 20 minutes in with the Garden Terror, saying we can take this down even against a Zeratul with the Void Prison and all that, well, the damage that Kalthas alone has. They just barely get it done here. Really well played. And Team Liquid, they said after they lost both of their best of 3s, they said the day after, this is when the tournament starts. This is the first day. We don't really care about what happened in the past. And for Na'Vi, this is really difficult now.
Yeah, they are in some serious trouble. They need to step it up for the next map, which I believe is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen. But in that last core push there, incredible positioning by Team Liquid. They completely spread themselves all around the core. So if Zeratul Void Prisms, he's only getting 1. If Kalthas Flame Strikes, he's only getting a maximum 2. They just spread it out and made it very hard for Team Na'Vi to defend it, and they had their tanks on basically opposite sides of the core, and both of them went to pretty much the end of that game with full health.
And right now, I feel it's such a difficult decision, or such a difficult position to be in for Na'Vi. Those are not happy faces. And the problem that they really had is that when they came to the tournament, they were on the top of the world. They already qualified for Prague, they qualified for Road to BlizzCon, and they played very well here at the tournament too, taking out Team Liquid again. But then they lost against Fnatic, a team that they have a bit of a rivalry with. So they lost that match, and you could really tell that it gnawed at him. It was something that they really didn't like, and now they lose another map against Team Liquid, and they know that they find themselves 1 map short of being eliminated from the tournament, and I don't know if they can do it, to be honest. Like, from a psychological standpoint, it's going to be very tough for them to just shake all that off and say, all right, we focus on game number 2 now, and we're going to be able to make that work. It is their map though. They made the choice to go as the second map into Tomb of the Spider Queen. We had 3 maps available: Garden of Terror, Cursed Hollow, Tomb of the Spider Queen. And the first map choice, Garden of Terror, was the choice of Team Liquid, but for the second map, it was Na'Vi making the move into Tomb of the Spider Queen.
And Tomb of the Spider Queen, one of our more interesting maps, as it is basically the smallest map in the game. Everything is so close together.
One of the things that we oftentimes see of Tomb of the Spider Queen is, of course, that Asmodan. And interestingly enough, Team Liquid was trying to play Asmodan the last time that we saw the map, and they failed miserably. It's not really a hero that they play often. Apparently they've scrimmed and tried to train with him, but it's usually something that we see more from the likes of Na'Vi than anyone else. Tomb of the Spider Queen is, of course, going to be only the second map. So if we have a third one, then it's going to be Cursed Hollow, a very standard map here, and that would be a great map for a third game, but Team Liquid, they want to take this with a 2-0 here. The draft has actually already started, so we're going to jump into that and going to try and find out if maybe this time we're going to see another Asmodan here, or if the teams are going to draft around him. Oftentimes you see the early picks kind of catering to a potential Asmodan ban, but most of the teams are waiting a bit until they commit to really taking him.
Yeah, so like you said, we sometimes see Johanna as first picks or bans on this map for exactly those reasons.
we saw that, especially before Leoric came into play. Right now, you don't really have to ban a Johanna out anymore if you want to go, if you try to avoid an Asmodan composition against you, since there is always the Leoric that the opponent can rely upon. And Team Liquid, they have shown several times now already that they really do not like to go up against the Jaina, so they ban her out. We have Na'Vi with the immediate Zeratul picks, so very traditional picks for the two of them now. And Team Liquid, Leoric, we've seen Zagara first picks, we've seen Leoric first picks, so those are really things that they could do at this point.
Yeah, and there is the Team Liquid Zagara preference that they seem to have so much, and it has worked out for them very well in the past. So they bring it in to this match as well, and that gives them so much map control over those turn-in points.
We have Na'Vi, of course, with their own 2 picks now, and this is going to be quite interesting to see what they are going to take here. And especially, they could take a Leoric. I actually would expect the Leoric to be taken by them. They really like to run that setup with a Leoric and oftentimes also a Johanna on this map. We've even seen them go for a double warrior pick at the first 2. Team Liquid, those are the guys that could maybe go for that Asmodan. If Na'Vi really wants to play Asmodan, it's kind of likely that we're going to see like a Leoric plus Asmodan here. The Leoric was kind of given and there we have him, but the second pick, that's really where they need to make that choice.
Yeah, so they could bring in their support here, could bring in some initial damage like the Asmodan, or just someone a bit more regular, or like we were talking about earlier, the double tank is something they are very fond of, and if it is a Johanna, we will 100% either see a ban by Team Liquid, which is more likely, or maybe they will take the risk and go for a pick on him.
Yeah. On this map, like the Asmodan is always one of these things in the back of your head, and you need to make sure that if you don't want to play him, that your opponent is not able to draft a composition that is perfect for him. When we're going into the second bans, it's once again very important for the teams that they make up their mind what exactly they want to play, because the team that bans out Asmodan is of course going to sacrifice one of their bans to do that, and if you have a normal composition of your opponent going up against you, then it's a wasted ban in the end. So Na'Vi is really thinking very hard about this. They pick the Johanna, they go for the double warriors as already called earlier, and now Team Liquid, they have their next 2 picks before we head into these bans. It's very likely that at this point Team Liquid is going to make the choice if they want to play Asmodan or not. And if they don't play him, they're very likely to ban him out, since Leoric and Johanna are an amazing setup. And of course with Na'Vi picking Johanna, they also eliminate a hero that Team Liquid could have chosen now with the potential Asmodan to just prepare these stacks.
And we know that Liquid can play Asmodan, as they did play it in their first series, and it was against Na'Vi, but didn't really work out so well for them here, and it was the first time we've really seen them play it.
And in this case, it's far more likely that they're not going to go for it, and we already have a Kel'Thas and also a Malfurion. And in this case, Na'Vi now, they can ban, it doesn't really matter like what they do right now in terms of like the picks and bans. They're probably just going to take something out like another tank. They already have banned 2, so pick 2, they can ban one that they don't want to play against. If they, for example, say, hey, we want to play Uther, they could ban an Uberak here, but they themselves, yeah, they go up against and ban the Malfurion. And it's a Karrigan ban that we are seeing by Team Liquid, not the Asmodan that Na'Vi could have picked up, and that's now quite interesting with the Leoric and a Johanna being played.
Yeah, and I would not be too surprised to see the Asmodan from Na'Vi here. Liquid, though, have got the Kael'thas, as we mentioned earlier, which is another late-game hero, so we're basically going to see snipe duels where Kael'thas would be throwing out Flame Strike and Asmodan Globe of Annihilations if that's what Na'Vi goes for. We're putting a lot of emphasis on it because it's just so important on this map.
Na'Vi moved a bit away from Asmodan on this map, and normally what they play here is actually that they are trying to use the Leoric on one lane, they push the other one hard, they're trying to create some kind of split push. So with the setup that they have, they still have the option to fall back into old habits and go for an Asmodan here. But Team Liquid, with their ban on the Karrigan, is also, I don't want to say like gambling, but they are kind of saying, hey, listen, we know that you changed your style a bit, and even if you go back into the Asmodan, we're going to be alright with that. But we don't want to go up against this lockdown that a Karrigan provides you. It's a small map, Karrigan is strong here, and we are already, they have already 3 heroes that Karrigan would be amazing against, since lockdown is what kills the Malfurion, the Kael'Thas, and the Zagara in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, Na'Vi already had a lot of lockdown in their current roster with the Johanna and the Uther, and upon level 10, the Valor as well. Team Liquid bringing in their first tank in the form of the Arthas, and we've seen him quite a few times in this map. He's very strong here.
And an Uberak is another option for them for their last pick. It would be also strong with the Web Blast against Uther. That would be one of the things that they could do here. Has additional lane presence too that they could rely upon. So that would probably be a smart move by them. Of course, there are other options that they have at this point. And we've seen Flames playing a lot also with the Tyrael. And there is the Tyrael instead. Also a great hero if you, in the end, find yourself against an Asmodan composition, because what he can do is just simply use his shield in the early stage of the game to screw a bit with the stacking process of Asmodan, and Na'Vi will have to make that choice right now. They know it's an option. The only question is, do they go for it? Do they say, we accept a weak early game, we accept that we have to push with Vala, with Leoric, and with Johanna, and help Asmodan with the stacking process, or do they go for a more solid composition that can take Team Liquid on early on in those 5 versus 5 fights?
That's the question. We expect to see this timer dropping quite low, as they have a very important decision to make, because this decision could break their career, not their career, sorry, they could break their tournament run and send them home in 3rd place.
Well, we have now also an option for them to go Nazeebo. Nazeebo is a strong hero. They have other options as well. It's not only the two of them. They could, for example, decide to go into Sylvanas, which we don't see as much anymore. She pops up occasionally, usually as a counter to Illidan, but Na'Vi goes for Asmodan, and I love this decision. I think it's a very good choice by them, since they already run a Leoric, they run a Johanna, and that is a great move. Asmodan together with these two heroes is great. And it's pretty cool comp, not only for the stacking process. I mean, oftentimes when we're talking about the two tanks, we're saying, hey, they can help with the stacks, they can help to make sure that Asmodan gets the extra damage in. But the more important part here is that the Asmodan composition is usually weaker in the early game. What they have now, though, is very good lane push with both of their warriors and with Vala. So they have 3 heroes that can really stop incoming waves, and that allows them to just survive until finally in the late game, Asmodan is going to be strong enough to participate in these team battles.
Yeah, and we also mentioned earlier just the incredible amount of lockdown that Na'Vi is bringing to the table. Combine that with the late game damage coming in from the Asmodan, and this could get very, very interesting.
The one thing that's really cool also about what we're seeing here on the side of Na'Vi, just like up on that a bit more, is that Asmodan, one of the reasons why Asmodan is also a little bit weaker in the early game is if you start to participate in team fights early on, then it always means that you throw a Globe of Annihilation on opponents' heroes. And that means you're missing out on one that you could throw on creeps. So you don't get stacks for that one up. You have to wait another 10 seconds until you can throw another one out. So it's not only about the damage. You can really sometimes contest an opponent's composition earlier in the game, especially if your other heroes already did some work. But that slows down your stacking process as well. So Tyrael is going to try to use his shield in the early game to make it more difficult for Asmodan to do this. But this is going to be a very nice dynamic between the two teams trying to reach this game. And keep in mind that Team Liquid is, of course, ahead in the series.
Yeah, they only have to win this map to move on to play Fnatic in the finals, whereas Na'Vi need to win this map and then come in on the Cursed Hollow to try and take the whole thing.
And the game is alive, and once again to the left side of the map with a 1-0 lead in the best of 3, the Spanish Armada, it's Team Liquid. We have Vortex on Kalthus, Black Scorp on Arthurs, it's Lucifron on Tyrael for the double warrior setup, Goran Paquete on Malfurion for the heals, and Falcon on Zagara pushing the lanes. To the right side of the map, their opponent, they need a win and they need it now. They are 1 map away from being eliminated from the tournament. It is Team Na'Vi! Alex the Prodigy on his favorite hero. He's playing Leoric. We have Eternal on Vala, JPL, the man himself, on Asmodan, Splendor on Uther, and Shvimpy on Johanna. Great heroes here to help Asmodan with the stacking process, and of course, everything for him hinges on this level 1 talent, Taste for Blood.
And we see Na'Vi be pushing very far forward here with the Leoric and the Uther, just seeing if they could catch anyone out of position. But like you said, a lot of pressure on this Taste for Blood, so he's just going to start stacking as soon as possible. Tyrael with a very nice shield though, but was not able to deny that first set of stacks.
10 stacks already, so 10 bonus damage after this first wave. And of course, the more stacks you get in the early game, when you have like your first 2 or 3 globes, the easier it's going to be afterwards. If you have a Johanna and a Leoric with you, it's nearly impossible not to hit those properly. But Team Liquid is still trying to use the shield on Tyrael to screw that stacking process as much as they can.
Yeah, Team Liquid trying to just follow the roam here to keep up and just continuously do damage to the roaming squad to slow it down. And we're actually seeing Alex drop low hit. The living bomb does not finish him though.
Yeah, Alex is low, but he's not dead. And we have Azmodan already with 32 stacks and this early in the game, 1 minute in. That's not too bad, that's not too shabby. Team Liquid is of course one of the teams that is incredibly strong when it comes to dealing with Azmodan compositions. And they are going to have to prove this again if they want to take this series with a 2-0.
Great CC from Liquid though. Roots followed by stuns from the Arthas and the Kael'thas. Able to slow down Na'Vi, and this is what they're trying to do. They're just trying to disrupt and slow down Azmodan as much as possible. While Valor, with the extra sustain talent, she took the Siphoning Arrow level 1, is in the bot lane just trying to not die to Zagara.
Yeah, over here we have JPL with a few additional stacks, not too many, but of course the towers were already attacking them too. Both of the teams now on level 3, as mentioned by Tetcher earlier. It's a lot of globe talents that we're seeing, especially Regeneration Master is going to be great in the late game for Arthas, for Tyrael. When they go up against Azmodan, they have a lot of regeneration that they can use in these fights. Again, the attempted route against Azmodan, he moves back though, but Arthas is going to get taken out. The first blood here for Na'Vi.
Eternal roaming up from the bottom lane as well to join in on that. And the roaming from Na'Vi continues. They're going to fight Vortex and Lucifrod here. Get the stun onto Lucifrod. He does have Elderwind's Might to try and teleport out, and he will be able to do so.
And of course, JPL now using also another Globe of Annihilation to start and do some hero damage. We're currently on 48 stacks. Pretty good if you consider that we're only 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. And if you lose a hero, like we just saw Team Liquid do in the early game against the Azmodan composition, that's not really what you want. You need to control the map. You need to get the map control to get those 2 turn-in spots and get those Web Weavers set in against your opponent. It is absolutely crucial that you are able to do that. And from the side comes Black Scarf. They go for Azmodan and they get the kill. Incredible important kill for them here. Very well played and a good flank from Arthas.
Yeah, we keep mentioning just how important it is to disrupt this stacking process. The best way to do that is, well, to kill him. Can't stack if you are dead.
Can't disagree with that.
Very important kill there. We do have on the side of Liquid the Malfurion going with the Elun's Grace instead of the rampant growth that we've been seeing quite a few teams take. It's a very discussed talent choice that we see now and again teams arguing over.
We are on level 5 now, and we have 70 stacks already on the side of JPL. So Azmodan doing a lot of work here. Bound Minion Trader level 4 is going to help him to push the off lanes. Destruction taken on Arthas for the extra damage. We have also with the Elun's Grace, as you mentioned, the extra range in all of his spells. The Netherwind for Vortex, in this case actually not going for Gathering Power. He's one of those players that loves to go into Gathering Power, but apparently not when he's up against an Azmodan composition.
Yeah, you don't want to just get sniped and lose all your stacks straight away. It is pretty devastating in that situation. Arthas just hanging in this turning point pretty much constantly as he can just move through the bushes to try and pick people up and slow them down as they go from lane to lane. Tyrael with a nice shield, not enough once again to deny the stacks.
Tyrael is doing what he can to deny them, but the problem is he just can't. Not against the Condemn on Johanna and then a Skeleton Swing that Leoric supplies here. It's just too much, and by now we already have a huge amount of stacks for Azmodan, so he is really shining here. We have the first set of Web Weavers coming into play for Team Liquid. The stack count is at 124 minutes, well actually 124. 4.5 minutes in, the Web Weavers are being attacked, but this is of course one of those opportunities that the Spanish Armada has to take down a few structures.
Johanna gets rooted, but is very tanky, able to back up out of there. JPL stacking off the bot lane here as it was quite pushed up, and is able to mostly wipe it out and get a couple extra stacks, and it weakens that Web Weaver, so that the Valor in the bot lane is going to have a little less trouble.
Talking about the Web Weaver, All Shall Burn being used. JPL is lasering down the spiders, and of course he can still stack in the mid lane, or also just simply throw that orb up to the top where he would hit a few heroes as well.
Yeah, we will probably see Alex move in here once that Globe of Annihilation is up to Skeletal Swing the minion wave so that it weakens it for the Azmodan, and there it comes in. The Burning Talent from Azmodan will take down a couple of those minions as well to give him the talent.
Alex is going for that Leoric build that we've been talking about a lot. As mentioned, we have the second warrior in the setup still roaming with Azmodan, both of them actually always sticking around. Hardened Bones and Lingering Apparition, he's always going to be able to get out of these situations, and Azmodan by now on 150 stacks.
Yeah, second Azmodan hits that level 10, Alex is probably just going to head up into the top lane and just stay there and start on his classic split pushing.
There's absolutely no reason for him to not do that, exactly. I mean, Asmodan on level 10 will be able to use the Black Pool to deal with it. Of course, Team Liquid is ahead, and you expect this. If you play Asmodan in your composition, you expect to fall behind a bit. That's what the Web Weavers are for, that's what the objectives are for. This is what Team Liquid is trying to do, but they are willing to take that risk. A great Viling. Oh my god, Black Scorp is way too far out here. Can't escape, and he's gonna be lasered down. Or is he? Because Team Liquid is rotating.
Team Liquid have actually trapped Na'Vi a bit in the boss here, but Alex the Pro G, in great positioning and great aggression, is able to push them out and give the rest of his team a chance to escape.
Currently the stack count is 164 already. We're going to take a look at that later on again. But for now he's doing a great job with it. 2 kills against 1 in favor of Na'Vi. They need to win this map. They need to win 2 in a row now if they want to have the revenge match against Fnatic in the grand final. And they turn in the Web Weavers already. We have them with a turn in. The objective for them, Red Web Weavers are going to be on the map in a bit. But we have Team Liquid about to hit level 10. Down to the bot lane on the other hand. Eternal nearly dying, gets healed. And Asmodan with a hit against Falcon. Falcon really low in his Zagara, but he gets away.
Yeah, no one there for the follow-up unless Asmodan just goes for a Hail Mary Q to try and find him, but Zagara already way out of position. Instead, Asmodan Qs off the mid lane.
Sanctification taken by Tyrael, so he will be able to dodge the damage of his team when one of those globes comes in the later stage of the game. Both of the teams now on level 10. Army of the Dead has been chosen. More Tranquility and Phoenix to round the setup up for Team Liquid.
Like we suggested, the globe, the Black Pool coming in from the Asmodan, so he can now stack himself and get a huge amount of damage. We see it land on Lucifron there, who is moving in. Divine Shield on the Valor with the strafe, dealing a lot of damage, but most of it is healed out by that Tranquility. Tyrael maybe looking for an engage here. The globe takes down Zagara though.
Really well done, Asmodan with the damage already. He has a fair amount of stacks already, and he is using them. Starting to move in once more. The Web Weavers might be gone, but they don't get too much. They are trying to go for the 4 regardless. JPL is using the All Shall Burn, dropping it really low, but they disengage before they are happening into the slide into another 4 versus 4. Up at the top lane, Alex and Black Scorp are facing each other.
Yeah, Alex is basically going to live up here now. He has no issues. He is just going to be able to drain off a Black Scorp whenever he needs to and continue to keep the pressure on that lane. Asmodan looks like he's moving through the Bruiser camp just so he doesn't have to go through those risky pathways to go rejoin his team up at the top turning. And
they're turning in again, and they will be able to make that happen. Red Web Weavers descending again, and that is not really what you want to happen if you're playing against an Asmodan composition. The Asmodan team should not be able to get those turn-ins back to back, and they are doing extremely well. Na'Vi is in an incredibly good spot now. They have so much lane presence. Falcon was a bit too far out, gets stunned and taken out. Another kill for Na'Vi, 4 kills against 1, and they are looking good.
They are looking very good. Web Weavers have just spawned for them as well. The one in the mid lane is getting focused down very heavily by Team Liquid, and we see Leoric in the top lane, just putting a huge amount of pressure once again onto Black Scorp. And he can just continue to drain Black Scorp as it is percentage damage on the Crushing Hope.
Na'Vi definitely knows how to play this map, and they are moving down to the bot lane to take down a 4 lingering apparition being used. Alex the Pro G is just trying to rush away, buying some time for his team, buying as much time as he can. He knows he's going to die eventually, but it doesn't matter as long as the rest of Na'Vi does the damage at the bot lane. That's exactly what they do. They have a huge wave pushing in now against this wall. Very well played here by Na'Vi, and they are moving over into the mid lane to do even more here.
Alex popping in and out from behind the gate just to keep vision on where everyone is, so that Na'Vi knows how much they can actually push in this mid lane. And that's very nice. He has now revived and is just going to help push this down. Maybe try and grab the fountain. The globe, so much damage. Half healthing Vortex there.
He's only at 220 stacks and he's already doing this much damage. We have a level 13 now for them, and that gives them the spell shield. We have now also the March of Sin, which allows him to just move during the All Shall Burn. Vala even going for the Frost Shot talent now, even despite the arrow build that she's chosen. He wants to make sure that especially Arthurs can just not simply run into the back line here. Very good play by Na'Vi, but Team Liquid, they are not out just yet. They have the level 13, and on 16, Kel'Thas is going to get his Ignite.
Spell Shield on the Arthurs, a very good choice here. If more of them had the option to take it, I expect they would. Zagara did have the option to take it, but is not going to. Instead, really wants that damage from the Mutalisk.
And again, we have the fight in the mid lane here. Phoenix is already down. JPL with a globe hits 4 people here. A lot of damage already by Asmodan. Very early fight participation by him, and they're trying to go in again, but in the front line we're seeing again Iron Skin being used as Johanna moves a good condemn, and Asmodan composition. They go straight for the kill against Tyrion. They get him. Johanna gets counter killed though, and they take Vala out as well. Uther is also dying. Oh my god, Team Liquid with a quad kill.
Amazing turnaround by Liquid. They're turning that Tyrael death into a quad kill, and a lot of that damage did come from Tyrael's explosion there. Was able to grab 2 people in that.
We are having, at this point, the stack count at 234, and that's one of the problems that Asmodan has. We saw Na'Vi go now twice for the team fights with Asmodan. He had a great stacking number early in the game, but now he is stagnating a bit because he realized that he needs to fight in those battles and help his team out. That's what he did, but that also means that he is losing out on a lot of global annihilations that he could throw in minion waves to further increase his damage.
Yeah, he wants to be getting that damage as high as possible, but the fights by Liquid have been fairly constant and fairly good because they keep trying to turn in. And well, Na'Vi don't want that to happen, but they also would like to have a stronger Asmodan, so in a bit of a predicament.
Now we see, of course, the Web Weavers now coming to play now with a great quad kill that we saw by Team Liquid. They have an opportunity now to take the objective again, and they are pushing in the top lane. Alex is there, Schwimpy, Honest, Johanna as well. The entire team is assembled with the exception of Asmodan, who's currently at the bot lane, to use not only his glow, but also go for the all-shell burn, and he is just completely wrecking that spider.
Yeah, and he wrecked the minion wave with that globe, getting stacks, clearing the wave and protecting his base all in one fell swoop.
5 kills against 6 now. Team Liquid is ahead in experience. They have been able to have a great team fight there, but they need, of course, to take down a few of these structures as well, because so far the only fort that has been eliminated is the one on the side of Team Liquid.
Schwimpy moving in here, just getting his condemn once again. Falcon is staying very close to the back here as he does not want to get caught out.
We have level 16 approaching. Black Scope is trying to turn in again. We have 72 gems on the side of Team Liquid, so they could get another Web Weaver wave. But Alex is here trying to interrupt them once that they start to turn in. And Asmodan from the back line waiting for wave after wave to throw another Global Annihilation. There's another one. Currently his damage is up to 270.
Yeah, 300 is about when you start getting to the point where people have to go back to the Hall of the Storms after you hit them. But he is very close to that point right now. Na'Vi quite split up, but you can see Johanna moving in at the bottom here, waiting to try and maybe get some kind of engagement as Blessed Shield is off cooldown.
Ignite has been chosen on level 16. JPL moved in with an all-shell burn, but now next to Ignite we also have, in this case, the Hindering Moonfire. Another turn in for the blue team. We're seeing them with Brute Expansion for the double Hunter Killer and the Stone Skin on Arthas, who also has a spell shield. He is going to be super tanky in these fights, and Team Liquid is now in a very good position to push down one of these forts, but the level 16 talent hits just in time for Na'Vi.
Flame Strike does land on JPL and Splendor there. Doesn't do too much damage. Neither the Asmodan nor the Kael'thas are doing the huge amount of damage that they want to be in this particular situation. Phoenix, though, is going to be very good at zoning out here and will probably give Liquid the opportunity they need to push into this fort.
Yeah, Asmodan might regret participating in these earlier team fights now. He could do so much more damage to help his team if he had used those orbs for a bit more damage against minion waves, but he's still in a very solid position, and as you can see, he does more than 1,000 damage already with every single globe that he throws out. The fort is taken out regardless though, and at the top lane we see a second one fall. Very good push by Team Liquid, using those Web Weavers, using the objective on the map and getting their kills in.
Na'Vi are coming up to this location, though. We can see Leoric from the side looking for a good angle to come in from, but they're not going to fight because Asmodan is heading down to the bot lane to help defend it and to get himself some more stacks.
Asmodan in the bot lane with another Black Pool, hitting that hard, getting a few more damage points in. He's currently at 300. Alex the Pro G up at the top lane currently, trying to, or in the mid lane, helping out with the rest of the team. Asmodan is still down here, can go for another globe. Actually did that a second ago and has to go back to get mana.
Yeah, but once he has mana, he will be back in that team fight as soon as possible. We can see Liquid just posturing at the moment. They're finally going to go for their Bruiser camp, which they've been putting off for a very long time.
As long as Na'Vi doesn't lose any keeps, they are fine with the Asmodan composition. Now, the late game is where they are going to try and reign supreme, but of course that's also where they have to deal with the Kael'thas, so it's not going to be too easy for them, but they are going to try their best with this. They will have the damage. It's all about JPL. Does he get the damage in? Hits a big one here. Very well done. Good damage against the Bruiser camp, and at the same time, of course, establishing a few more damage points for his globe.
Yeah, Asmodan is at 334 stacks currently. lot of extra damage. Kael'thas, like we said at the start, with no gathering power, is just relying on his base damage. And with the healing from Uther, Uther's keeping up with this pretty nicely, and the Blood for Bloods are good health potions for Asmodan and Valor.
Na'Vi could turn in again, and they're trying to. At the same time, it's still the farming process for JPL. Nobody even touched the boss yet, but there are 63 gems on the side of Na'Vi, and if they turn in, then they get the Web Weavers, and that would be a great position for them to be in to maybe finally take down a few additional structures. In the mid lane, they're already busy with those earlier taken bruiser camps to make sure that they drop a few hit points off the fort. Shrimpy with a turn-in attempt, and during all that time, still the pokes in the backline from JPL just throws one globe after another.
Falcon able to heal a lot of that up though with his rapid incubation talent, which has proved invaluable in this game and the last.
Again, a great hit. This time, Grand Paqueta is taking the blunt force. We're having Splendor trying to zone for Shrimpy, but there's always Black Scob or Lucifron interrupting the turn-in. They won't be able to do too much here. Asmodan, on the other hand, went up into the mid lane to hit the top, and that, of course, makes this wave push in even harder, especially since he's using the Bound Minion trade as well.
Yeah, and we saw a bit of an engagement there by Team Liquid, but Na'Vi able to disengage very nicely and are just grabbing health at their fountains.
It's very tricky for Team Liquid to move to the bot lane and take that siege camp, because they know that there is an attempt of Team Na'Vi to get those turn-ins, and with two heroes missing, they are very likely to get it. Vortex is throwing in a flame strike. They should actually try to change positions a bit. Lucifron is moving in as well, but here comes the move up to the top. They got the camp in time, and they even prevented the turn-in during all of this. Very well played by Team Liquid.
Lucifron dropped quite low, but gets a nice heal from Malfurion, which allows him to stay pretty healthy. Shrimpy very much out of position here, completely trapped from his team. He's just going to charge straight through Liquid to get himself out of there. Can turn around as his Blessed Shield is prepared if he wants to try and engage. This does get rooted. Ice Pro G is very low as well.
Falcon was hit by another globe though, and these things really start to hurt. He is at 400 extra damage of a maximum of 500, and you can really tell that it hurts, especially Zagara, every single time that globe hits. She already dropped down to 1/3 of their health, and once more she would have died. So there's nobody to really follow up the damage just yet, but they were able to get Johanna out of there, and that was the most important part. But only 100 extra damage in Asmodan, and he is going to be at max damage for every single engagement here. And then he can completely ignore these waves if he wants to, and can just focus on the heroes.
Yeah, and he will be dropping a lot of damage once he gets that point. Team Liquid able to turn in, denying Na'Vi for long enough so they could gather the gems that they need to put on their own pressure. And like you said, if Na'Vi can keep their keeps alive, then they're going to be in a good position for the state game once Asmodan is completely maxed out. Otherwise, Liquid will have a good opportunity to try and put some aggression on their own.
Asmodan is nearly maxed out. He is at 450. He only needs a few more points. But of course, for Team Liquid, it was great that they got the turn-in, because it was so close for Na'Vi to get a turn-in on their own. But Team Liquid denied that. And if a hero with a lot of gems would now die, then they would be in an even better position. The mid lane already defended against. The Web Weaver taken out, but over here we're having again Team Liquid pushing in. They nearly have level 20. That's going to be the important talent for them. Can they use that advantage to drop a key? We're going to find out now as Team Liquid starts to push in.
A lot of stuns land. Splendor taking a lot of hits from pretty much every ability here, including pretty much every flame strike. Not able to dodge out the way of those very well, but he is one of the heroes with the spell shield.
Level 20 now with a double Bolt of the Storm, double Hardened Shield, and they are moving in. They want the keep, and they might get it. In the backline, JPL, where is that globe? They need it, and they need it now. There it is. Hits and hits hard, but the heals are there, and also the Shield of Tyrael. Great play by Team Liquid. They're taking down the keep. They're one of the best teams against Asmodan compositions, and they're showing it currently once again. Good hits, though, by Asmodan, and as long as he can keep that up, they will always have an opportunity to jump in and take a hero like Zagara or Malfurion out.
Grand Paqueta has been doing an amazing job with his heals all game here. Has the Life Seed talent as well, so he's just keeping everyone protected as much as possible. And the Storm Shield for that extra shield for when the initial one comes in. Liquid trying to do the boss here, and Na'Vi, with only 3 members down here, aren't really prepared to defend this. Leoric is on the way, Asmodan is also on the way, but there's no way they're going to be in time. Uther attempting to come in here. Divine shields himself to try and get away.
And here comes the globe. They're trying to throw it. They have level 20 now. 2 redemption has been taken. Double Bolt of the Storm for Na'Vi. They have the indestructible. Down goes Uther. He's going to be back though. He has redemption already taken. They're already going for the all shell burn on the boss, but this is looking like Team Liquid is going to try and maybe move in for a kill. Much of the Black King has already been used. They are using the strafe now too. A lot of damage coming out of Na'Vi, but Team Liquid is still trying to push this.
Team Liquid just so sustained here with this Malfurion, keeping them alive and the shield, but finally Kael'thas gets taken down, and that makes it a 1-for-1, but Uther coming back to life straight away. Na'Vi will now just take down this boss, and they should be able to do it before they lose their shield.
Kael'thas getting a globe to the face, and that dropped him. We have now 500 extra damage on Azmodan. He is at full stacks indeed. So yeah, great situation here now for Na'Vi when it comes to that. That loss on the keep at the top lane, on the other hand, that was a very different scenario, and now their core is down to 88%, but they know that in these team fights they now have the damage that they need. They just need to make sure that they drop either the Malfurion or the Kael'thas. And just looking again at those builds, Malfurion not going for an ice block. Yes, they have Sanctification on Tyrael, which can really help to negate the damage of one of the orbs, but still, if you have no ice block, it's so difficult to stay alive. Grand Paquette has done an amazing job in this game thus far, but it's not going to get easier.
Yeah, that Life Seed is one of their saving graces, giving up his own survivability with that ice block, as you said, in exchange for keeping his team alive, and it has been working out very well for him, but there's only so many times you can heal Kael'thas back to full after getting globed.
Azmodan has already 70,000 damage. We have 66,000 for Kael'thas. And both teams are waiting for an opportunity again. Here comes that hit, and he goes for Vortex, dropping him really low, but Malfurion is once again there to help him out.
Yeah, Malfurion on point, healing him back to full. And now Liquid moving to the bot lane just to clear out this web weaver. The globe once again lands, this time on Grand Paquette, but Fountain is available for him. This is all healing over time though.
Yeah, and we're having the attack in the mid lane and at the bot lane. Don't forget that there's another web weaver up at the top, trying to do the exact same thing. Good hits again against Falcon and Vortex. Grand Paquette is there with the heals, but Azmodan is really getting the numbers up now. In siege damage, he is at 230,000 damage.
Yeah, and that's just going to keep going as he can move in here and continue to put some pressure onto this keep. This could be the first keep for Na'Vi. There's the root from Blackscorp though, and this could be the turnaround that Liquid were looking for.
Yeah, they get another flame strike in. Here comes a good hit in the backline though, especially Falcon is one of their priority targets here on Zagara. Lucifron has to be careful there. Shrimpy trying to dodge. He has 33 gems. They need to be careful to keep him alive. JPL is just hitting every single time. He has his cooldown ready. He hits another globe, and he is really good to get those in against Falcon and Vortex. Great damage, gets into position again. The rest of the team is already fighting, with Johanna being locked down by Team Liquid. The Spanish Armada trying to go for Johanna, but the Divine Shield saving her for now. Shrimpy is in trouble, uses the Condemn. Here comes the globe, a bit too late, doesn't hit enough, and Indestructible already proccing.
And here's the Sanctification from Tyrael, keeping them alive, and that completely blocks out the march of the Black King from Alex the Pro G, who's now wading in with basically no health, trying to wave walk out, but there's so many people from Liquid chasing him. Blackscorp trying to get onto JPL or Inferno, instead fights Uther, but his redemption is on cooldown, so he can come back.
The heals on Malfurion are just absolutely out of this world now. He always keeps them alive. He's always there. All the damage that came out of Strafe, but now the potential drop against Vala. Eternal is just running. Splendor too. Shrimpy is already hightailing out of there. He doesn't want to stay there. There's another Flame Strike. Eternal, he is dead. Great play here by Team Liquid. They have 10 kills against 6. They are starting to move down the bot lane. Malfurion in this game with 86,000 heal already. The damage on Azmodan at 100,000 against heroes. Kael'thas is a close second, and it looks like the Spanish Armada is going to try to go for another kill on a keep.
The globe still coming in from Azmodan, but it just doesn't appear to be working in this case. The heals and shields from Liquid just too much, and are able to protect their team. And like you said, Liquid putting some pressure on the bot lane. Malfurion will be joining them soon, so he will be able to get the healing back up, because we're seeing Tyrael drop quite low here. They're trying to finally focus JPL, but he blinks away.
As silly as it sounds, the damage is missing for them. They have great globes every 10 seconds into the backline, but there's nobody there to follow that damage up and take the target down. That's why we're seeing Vortex and also Falcon staying so far back, because they know as long as they stay outside the reach of Vala, nobody can kill them. There's nobody to jump in and take them down. There is no Tyrael for judgment, nobody that has a gap closer that would really put even more pressure on Kael'thas and Zagara. So it's only Azmodan that really supplies this damage, and in the fights when they commit with the Divine Shield on Vala, of course the Strafe as well, but that just doesn't add up to get these heroes down. So as long as Malfurion keeps healing Kael'thas and Zagara in the backline, the only thing that JPL can do is throw out another globe every 10 to 12 seconds.
Minions are on the core in the Na'Vi base, but they do get web weavers of their own. So they're going to be able to be back, defend this, and then move into the lanes to begin pushing themselves.
It's all about positioning here now. It's all about the positioning that we're seeing for the backline of Team Liquid. They stay so safe. They just poke. They poke whenever they can, and they do it really well. There is damage on Asmodan, but they need someone to follow it up, to go deep and try to get that kill in.
Yeah, they need this Valor basically to be in the fights. So, but right now she's having to stay back. And that is for very good reason, because Liquid keep healing and shielding every time the globe lands. So it's like, well, he's dealt the damage, but it's all being healed up. So if I go in, there's a good chance I might die here. If
Na'Vi catches a hero out of position, then they can turn this around. Falcon already eating another globe here. Here comes the Phoenix, though. Vortex is doing such a great job. 100,000 damage on his own already. And we're seeing him pushing back everybody with those flame strikes. JPL again with a hit, a double hit. He always lands those. Like, he would be a great addition to the NBA. This guy hasn't missed a single one yet. Always hits a hit against at least one of the backliners, and he's trying to get that in again. Bot lane gets pushed. Na'Vi is definitely not out of this, but it is such a tense game.
Globe comes in, it hits both the tower and the keep, doing a lot of damage. There's the root from Arthas. They may want to move in here. Eternal does bolt out of there. We are seeing the Uther in the Devouring Maw. Can they focus him down? No, he is going to back away with the help from Eternal and that slowing Frost Shot.
Splendor is low, very low. So is Eternal. Shrimpy running for his life. Alex, more damage. JPL always in the back. Another hit, but this time not hitting anything. Needs to be super careful here. When does Black Scope have his cooldown ready for the Howling Blast? There it is, but Iron Skin is ready as well. Shrimpy is running. So is Na'Vi. A good hit again by Asmodan, but it's not enough. Indestructible is already procced, and Shrimpy turns around, tries to get a counter kill, but he doesn't get the damage in. Tranquility used by Malfurion. Everybody's still alive for Team Liquid. Black Scope in trouble though, but they still keep him alive. He's not dying. They lock down Uther, and it's another kill for Team Liquid.
It is currently a 2-for-0. Liquid pushing in. The Uther, was his redemption up? I think it was, and they're chasing him down now to make sure he doesn't get away with it. Back he comes to life, and he goes down. Now it is a 2-for-0, and Liquid can start putting on the pressure. They absolutely have enough coins for returning.
Team Liquid saying, screw early game advantages. We are going to win this in the late game against Asmodan. That's what they're trying to do, and they are doing well. They haven't won the game yet, but they're looking solid in all these team fights. But it's not over until the Fat Lady sings, and so far we have Team Liquid moving to the top lane, trying to go for boss, and this area is not called the throw pit for nothing.
Vortex taking another globe to the face, but Na'Vi are fighting many people down here. Liquid just taking the boss as much as they can. Alex going very far forward here. You can see Falcon is low, but gets saved by the Storm Shield.
Just barely getting saved there. Nobody there to follow that damage up. Eternal was to the right side, and for good reason. I mean, he can't just simply dive into 5 heroes and finish off Zagara. He would die. They secured the boss though, and to be honest, that advantage that Team Liquid had by dropping 2 of the heroes, it didn't give them anything. They didn't get the boss, they didn't get a structure, they established a bit of map control, but they couldn't turn in, they couldn't take the boss. So it was a very good defense that we've seen there by Na'Vi, but now they need to make sure that they disrupt Lucifer, and they are too late already.
Yeah, the turn-in has come from Liquid, so they're probably going to attempt to put some pressure on with this. And Na'Vi moving back to their base because they do not want to fight out in the open like this. Alex the Pro G just getting the full duration of Wraithwalk here to make sure he isn't caught out.
Now we have again in the mid lane currently everybody in position. JPL is trying to hit another globe, and he hits it. Takes 2. Grand Paquette and Vortex. Grand Paquette with so much shield here. The pressure against the mid lane. The Maw doesn't hit anything. Nothing at all. And with the Divine Shield, here comes Vala moving in. Tyrael with the Sanctification already using this. Shrimpy is trying to go for Vortex. They're going deep for him, but Vortex moves back. He's still alive. The strength being used. They really want Vortex, and they're going to get him this time, aren't they? He goes down. Oh god, Indestructible being blocked here.
They get Falcon
against Zagara.
And Uther is dead, but I don't think his redemption is up. He's just trying to keep Eternal alive as eSports chasing him down. JPL going for Black Scorp, gets him as well. Swimpy is going to be back, and once again, no, he's not. He's actually found by Lucifer. He doesn't have Indestructible anymore. Someone needs to turn around and help him. No, Swimpy is going to go down.
Shrimpy dies. It's a 2-for-3, and the core is at 37%. attack during all this time, but Vala at some point saying together with Shrimpion Johanna, boys, we need to grow some balls here, we need to go in for this one. And they did, they got their kills. The one time that they really engaged and tried to jump the backline, they do the damage, but it might be too late. They lose the keep in the mid lane, and now the core is at 29%. They are so close to losing the game. 16 kills against 9. Team Liquid is looking solid. Even after losing the last team fight, they are way ahead in the game.
Basically, the best chance for Na'Vi here is to de-push these lanes and wait for another team fight and then somehow get a 5-man wipe and just end the game there. Because if anyone is left alive from Liquid, they will probably just attempt to backdoor this as it is very low.
We have 140,000 heal on Malfurion. He has 50,000 heal, additional heal compared to Uther. Absolutely insane. The build that he went for, it is, I don't really want to call it a risky one, but it's definitely not the safest. Not going for the spell shield, or sorry, for the ice block against a hero like Azmodan, that takes some balls, and he definitely, I mean, it was the right choice here. So oftentimes we had the key nearly dying, but then he was there, helped them out. Great play by them. 160,000 hero damage on the side of Azmodan. 300,000 siege damage. He is the backbone of the army now. He's the backbone of the team, but they need the follow-up damage. In the last game, Eternal, in the last fight, Liquid. Eternal, they were going for it.
Liquid are being sneaky. They're looking to try and end the game here, going for the backdoor. Na'Vi will be being back as quick as possible. Azmodan is the closest to the base, is going to try to defend. Globe only lands on Vortex, and Liquid will focus down the core with the sack. GG! And Liquid are going to the finals to play against Fnatic.
Team Liquid, they take the 2-0 against Na'Vi. Well played. They lost all of their matches on the first day. They lost to Na'Vi, but now they turn around. A 2-0 victory for them. Really well played here in a great game on Team of the Spider Queen.
Yeah, incredible play overall. 16 kills to 9 in favor of Liquid. And like you said, 144,000 healing coming in from the Malfurion at the end of that game. Absolute MVP there.
It was crazy. And also the positioning, especially what we saw from Vortex there. Always outside the range of those, of the rest of the army. He only took damage from the Azmodan, throwing those globes in over and over again. But the entire time, they were just safe from the rest of the team. Vala was trying to go deep, didn't really get the chance to do that because the front line was still blocking her. So every single time it was just the back line that got attacked, and Malfurion healed that out. Azmodan, of course, was in cooldown on the globe. They had to wait a little bit longer. And that positioning was really key in every single fight that we saw. Yeah,
Liquid's positioning just on point there. It's the Liquid we have come to expect to see that didn't seem to bring it. They didn't seem to bring it with them on their first day. Apparently arrived late, and they did an incredible job in this series.
They actually said that this was the first, like yesterday they said it's the first day of the tournament, as this is when the tournament starts, and since then they have won every single map that they played. Now they get the match, the revenge match against Fnatic in the final, and the winner of the final is of course going to move to China for the main event. But guys, we have again Vortex of course on stage together with Clutch, so let's see what the two of them have to say about the last map.
Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations, Vortex and Team Liquid. This has been an incredible story for your team, especially from day one, going down 0-2, and then coming back and moving on to the finals against Fnatic. You've secured 6,000 euros so far. Are you prepared to face Fnatic in the finals?
Yeah, for sure. As I said yesterday, the real tournament for us started yesterday, actually. And I think we're ready for the final. We're playing really good now, and I'm confident we can do it, of course.
We've seen you perform very well in the late game. Congratulations once again on your victory. We'll let you get prepared for those finals. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's the finals for WarCraft 3 here at the WCA 2015 European Pro Qualifier. Stay tuned.